When you were sitting under Zoom call last night. No one's calling it. Tony. It's like, I realize you have a little bit of advantage based on the way the ground is. What's the matter?
Yeah, I think I know 6'2". Okay.
It is 7:00. That way people do. Otherwise,
Good evening, everyone. If you wouldn't mind kind of gathering over here, the cameras are a little obnoxious, so I apologize. I didn't know that was going to happen. But just closer to me would be awesome. I'd like to see your faces. I can't hear you.
Should we talk on behalf
Yes.
of the leaders?
And if you'll be speaking tonight, please come behind me. So good evening, everyone. My name's KB, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm a board member of Courage Milwaukee, and I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. We're here to honor our queer siblings who have been injured, killed, and otherwise victimized by the shooting at Club Q this past weekend. We are here to hold space for one another, memorialize the beautiful lives that were lost, and stand in solidarity with the Colorado Springs queer community. Sunday evening, I found myself drained and isolated after spending the day heartbroken, but still going through the motions. I decided to reach out to some of my chosen family, my board members at Courage and the leaders at Courage, for support and connection. I wrote in the group chat, please let me know if anyone hears about a vigil or a gathering in honor of the shooting. I'm not okay. A few minutes later, before anyone could text me back, I said, no, let's not wait for someone else to do it. Why don't we do it? Why don't we be the heart that our community needs? Because I need it. Robin, the vice president of our board, and truly the most where are you, Robin? And truly the most incredible ally I've ever met, immediately said, I'm in. And Jean, the program director at Courage, was like, I'm already thinking of ways we can get involved. Long story short, we pulled this together in about 36 hours, and I'm in awe of how many people were on board to collaborate and to attend. I want you all to know that I need you. I needed this, and that's why we're here today. I need community, just like you all need community, and you need me and everybody else who's here today as well. We're suffering a collective trauma, and we cannot heal alone. We suffer a collective oppression, and we cannot fight alone. Thank you for your presence here tonight. Thank you for standing up when your community needs you, and thank you to all of the organizations that responded with urgency and generosity to our call to action. We will now hear a word from each of those organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, KB. My name is Jamila Dawn, she, her, they, them pronouns. And I'm also on the board of directors for Courage MKE. I do have a speech prepared on my phone, but I don't need it now because what I wrote eventually after a few glasses of wine was exactly from the heart, which is what I'll say now. One of the reasons why I'm here, most importantly, and I love KB said it absolutely perfectly, we do need community. My first thought, and I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking this, is, oh my God, they attacked Club Q. Club Q is a place of love. Club Q is where many people from around Colorado Springs and around Colorado that are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, queer, come to for peace, to express themselves amongst friends, and most importantly, to build relationships. Family, friends, romance. We come to build everlasting relationships, and I know because I'm one of them. I've been out for a very long time, and I'm going to tell you, Club Q, we have a Club Q in Milwaukee, a place of love, and one of those places is here. So, and that's probably the reasons why they've attacked us. There are many other Club Qs around the country, in New York, in Chicago, in Portland, even small towns like Kenosha, Wisconsin, we have a Club Q. So it's very important that we show up. But not just our community, but everyone that loves us. One of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Cornel West. Justice is what love looks like in public. So my ask for everyone is to support the victims, both by donating where you can donate to support those victims, but in your own lives, and every way you move and communicate, ask yourself, how can I show love to people I care about or even could care about in public? Thank you so much for your time.
Hey everyone, Marco Brasino, I'm the board president of the Milwaukee LGBT Center, pronouns he, him. Like many of us, we were getting ready on Sunday to celebrate the Trans Day of Remembrance. However, we all woke up to the grueling news of what happened in Colorado. Many of us were in a lot of shock. We were looking to create that space for the many lives that we have lost throughout the country, throughout the years. However, it really hit home where on Sunday we woke up to 5 people that were dead, many more were injured. And this happened in a state where there is openly LGBT political figure. Many people live both quiet and public lives. However, they can not live up their most authentic selves, even in the spaces where they are supposed to be open and live their most authentic lives. They're still being targeted. As the person before me said, we still have a lot of those places here at a state level and a local level. We have been also targeted here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where we had Brazil, as well as Mia, get murdered this year. So again, this is where we need to come together as a community to make space for our trans community and represent them every time that we can.
Hello, my name is Cameron Overton. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm the executive pastor at Zao MK Church. And at Zao, we are Jesus-rooted, justice-centered, and radically inclusive. And I start there because when we heard of this attack on Sunday, we were in service. And we stopped and we said, this is a time of mourning, a time to pray, but also a time to think about how we can act. Prayers and thoughts are not going to solve what is going on here with the hate that comes. And sometimes I think, am I a part of the problem, continuing to be a Christian pastor, an out queer and trans pastor? And then I say, well, if I can't do it, who can, right? Because we are here, we are creating community, we can do this together if we stand and be with one another. I believe truly that the attack in Colorado Springs, it is not lost on me that it is the headquarters of one of the biggest family evangelical type of people who use God's name in a way that cannot be possible. I do not serve a God who is transphobic. I do not serve a God that is queerphobic. I serve a God who has brown skin, who moves to where people have been thrown out and looks at them and says, you are loved. And that is the kind of community that we are building. That is the kind of community that we have here today. And so if you are a person who is in doubt or who needs to grieve, we are here for you. If you are a person who wants nothing to do with God because you have been hurt, we are here for you. If you are a person who has people that are harming you in the name of God, let me stand in front of you and I will take that for you and talk to your loved ones who should not be doing that to you. And so, again, I believe that we can only do this if we come together, and I appreciate everyone that has come here today to do just that.
Hello, I'm Justin Roby. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the Director of Prevention, Care, and Empowerment Services at Diverse and Resilient. First off, I want to give our deepest sympathies to the loved ones of this horrific incident. It was with deep anger and sorrow that we watched the news break. We resent this incident taking critical attention away from TDOR, or Transgender Day of Remembrance, where events were set to honor Brazil Johnson, Toy Davis, and Maya Allen, two of which lost to gun violence. We implore lawmakers to enact common sense gun laws. We want to call in those political leaders who lead the charge on so many anti-LGBTQ bills and point out this horrific evidence of the divisive environment you create. Hate may have emboldened this individual to enact this way, but we know love wins. We believe that LGBTQ people deserve to thrive in their lives and holistically condemn Sunday's events. We are in a turbulent time and can no longer allow leaders with power to fail in their duty to protect and value all lives. As we move forward in healing, the time is now to build community and choose love. If you find yourself or know of a survivor of violence that shows up in many forms within our community, an advocate or resources are here for the Milwaukee area. You can call 414-856-LGBT or 5428. Again, 414-856-LGBT or 5428. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's DJ Kwam. I'm with the Cream City Foundation in
A little higher, do this.
this? Okay, there we go. I'm not professional. I'm DJ Kwam with the Cream City Foundation. And it feels like just a few years ago that we were sitting in an early Sunday, June morning when the Pulse nightclub news broke, and we were all trying to figure out if we were going to march in a parade down South 2nd Street here in Milwaukee. And here we are, different time of year, but having the same conversations. It's really hard to see those 5 faces and the 25 other victims that we know were traumatized, to say the least, this past weekend at the Club Q shooting. I'm so honored to be part of the group here that has been able to bring us together as a Milwaukee community. That it's fantastic, and I'm happy and I'm sad to see all of you. I'm happy that we can come together, and I'm sad under the circumstances. So please take the time you need this evening. There are services available inside in the center if you find yourself struck with grief. And I'll keep this brief, and I'd like to introduce the mayor of Milwaukee, Cavalier Johnson.
Thank you, DJ. You know, it's another.
Put your mic like this, please.
It's another terrible incidence of unnecessary and harmful, deadly gun violence in the United States, and another terrible instance of terrible, horrible gun violence against members of the LGBT community here in the United States as well. And the people in the city of Milwaukee stand in sorrowful remembrance of the lives that were lost recently in Colorado. And as what was said before, it rings true. We call upon legislators, we call upon leaders, political leaders in state houses and in Congress to work to enact meaningful gun law access changes in the United States. There's only so much that we are able to do at the local level. That's why we need our partners at the state and federal level to step up to make sure that folks who should not have access to deadly weapons in the first place, who would cause such violence, don't get their hands on a deadly weapon in the first place, right? So that's what my ask is. That's what folks have been calling for in this country for so long. That's what we finally need to see happen. But the one thing that strikes me is the fact that even in a city halfway across the country, even on a night that's as chilly as this, you have people from all across Milwaukee who are here, who are gathered, standing in solidarity and in remembrance. Reminds me of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King when he talked about hate and driving out love. You know, hate can't be driven out by hate. Only love can do that. And that's what we're seeing here tonight. We're seeing people who care. We're seeing people who love and want to see a better day, not just for folks in this city, in this community, but for our brothers and sisters across the whole country, across the entire United States of America. And that's what we all should be gathered around to fight for. That's what we all should be gathered around and want to see. Because who knows? You know, one day it's an incident affecting the LGBT plus community. Another day, another instance could happen affecting somebody that you care about. That's why it's important for all of us to stand together, to stand united in this effort. And you've got my solidarity, you've got my support, and continuing to push, continue to prod, continue to fight for that better day, that better future, where more people in this city, in this state, and in this country are free from the sorts of terrible gun violence that we see far too often on the streets of this city and so many others like it in the United States. Thank you. And with that, I'll pass it to Pastor Jonah.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Jonah Overton. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am the lead pastor at Zao MKE Church. I am a queer and trans person. I am a human being with dignity and worth, like each of you gathered here, like each of those gathered at Club Q, like each of those lost that night. And so we come here to remember. We come here to remember Raymond and Kelly, Daniel and Derek and Ashley, who lost their lives this weekend due to anti-queer hate and violence. Raymond was called kind, described as a selfless young adult with his entire life ahead of him. His closest friend described him as gifted, one of a kind, and willing to go out of his way to help anyone. Raymond, you will be missed. Kelly was described by her sister Tiffany as a good person, loving and caring and sweet. Everyone loved her. Kelly was a wonderful person, Tiffany said. Kelly, you will be missed. Daniel, the bar supervisor at Club Q, was called by one of his bartenders the best supervisor anyone could have asked for. He made me want to come into work, Michael said. He made me want to be a part of the positive culture we were trying to create here. Daniel, you have built something beautiful. You will be missed. Derek was a bartender at Club Q who had, quote, found a community of people that he loved very much, and he felt that he could really shine there, and he did. His sister Julia said he made a difference in so many people's lives, and that's where he wanted to be. Derek, you will be missed. And Ashley had a huge heart, they said. She showed her heart through her work at Kids Crossing, a nonprofit looking to help find homes for foster children, especially among the LGBT community. She would do anything for the kids, they said. These 5 individuals deserve better than the violence that ended their lives. Our community deserves better than the violence that we experienced this weekend and that too many experience on a daily basis. Now, I mentioned that I'm a pastor, and I guess that makes me kind of a church person. I know that not everyone here is a church person, and that most of you have extremely good reasons for not being church people. Your boundaries are holy. Your boundaries are good. Whether you are a church person or very much not a church person, all human beings have spiritual needs. We long for connection and celebration, community, communion. And for so many queer folks, the club is church, a space to be seen, a ritual of gathering, maybe weekly, to be blessed, to be protected, to be inspired, to sing and dance, to be fully alive, to connect with community. The club is a space of love and hope, as the church should be. And just as the church should be a safe space, and far too often is not, the club is a safe space that suddenly this weekend was not. Why does this feel like such a violation? Certainly because people were targeted based on queer identity and affiliation, but also because the club is supposed to be a safe space, a holy space, a sacred place. And it was invaded by hate. It feels so damaging to be violated in one's home, in one's community, in one's holy places. The club is a holy place. Club Q is a holy place, and it was intruded upon with hate and violence this weekend during communion. The point of our holy and sacred spaces is belonging and hope and connection. The point of our sacred gatherings is love. And though hate burst forth into sacred space at Club Q on Saturday night and fear rippled through the crowd, the protective forces of that place pushed right back as courageous club-goers tackled the perpetrator and brought a swift end to the violence. Love and community rose up in protection this weekend. Love overpowered that hate, literally. And that is a glimpse of what is happening on a much larger scale in our world. The rhetoric of violence is escalating, intruding into our safe places, and it is terrifying because it is happening because love is winning. We are no longer in the shadows or the closets. We are no longer hiding or pretending. We are out. We are in love. We are proud. We are community, and love is winning. And this violence is the death rattle of the forces of anti-queer hate, so troubled by our joy and our beauty and our power and our dancing. This hate is lashing out with its last breaths because even the devil knows that in the end, love wins. And that is and has been the refrain of our community. Love wins. Love wins. We know and trust that love wins. I know in the depth of my being the end of this story is love. But it can be very hard to hold on to that feeling in the cold, dark night when the news is coming in. And so, if you are here and you are struggling to believe in that love, in the end of our story being victory and hope and connection, I can hold that belief for you right now. And this is the power of community and communion, that when any one of us is too despairing, when any one of us starts to think that maybe love doesn't win, we can be held by one another as we hold that hope collectively. We can believe for one another, put our hope in each other. And the hope in love and love's victory will be there for you when you are ready to pick it back up. When your kin, your siblings, your sisters, your brothers are too tired to hope, you will hope for them, and we will hope together, and in the end, love will win. And so we honor and love those who are lost, and we rage and grieve the violence that we experience. And because we reject binaries that say we can't grieve and rage and hope and love at the same time, we will continue to dance, and we will continue to love, and we will continue to be community, to be kin, to be communion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jonah. I really personally needed to hear that, so I appreciate you. Thank you all as well, again, for being here. Sorry, taking my gloves off. Now we'll do somewhat of a candle ceremony. We'll be playing a song that was chosen that we think is fitting. Up here at this table, I'm kind of short, but hopefully you can see my arm. There are some candles that Robin and Jill and some other folks will be passing out. Please just make your way to the table, grab a candle, and then we would like for you to come to this table where we have one candle for each person that has died. And please light your candle off of one or all of their candles and just really be with the song, mourn, grieve, do whatever you need to do for you. The next 5 minutes or so are just dedicated to that. After that, we'll have one last word and we'll all just be here, okay?
take the time to absorb and just be present and mourn if you need to. I have some closing messages. First and foremost, my name is Dan Terrio, pronouns he, him, and I am the president of the board of directors for Courage Milwaukee. Before I get into my closing comments, I would like to share a statement that was delivered to us from Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Good evening. I regret that I cannot be with you all right now, but it is important for me to send this message to this community at this very difficult time. Loss and trauma and tragedy happens all too often in our neighborhoods. Unfortunately, the LGBTQ plus community has been the target of specific hate-filled threats for too long. My heart is with the victims and families who have been impacted by this horrific act of violence targeting the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community in Colorado. And my prayers of peace, tolerance, and healing are with you all tonight. As someone who has lost people close to me to gun violence and have others in my life today who are mourning while simultaneously feeling targeted, I want you to know that I stand with you not just today, but every day, because the fight for LGBTQ plus rights is a fight for human rights. Hate, discrimination, and violence have no place in our community or any place in our country. When I think of the queer community, I think of a community that has been incredibly resilient in the face of tragedy. But that's not all that I think of. I also think about the vibrance, joyful spirits, the creativity, and the passion I see each day from my fellow residents, and it gives me additional motivation to keep fighting for you. I believe that community and solidarity is how we heal, make progress, and move towards a brighter future for us all. No matter how intensely the hate is from others, and no matter how much they want us to disappear, we will band together and refuse to let them force us back onto the margins to be forgotten, mistreated, and harmed. I want all Milwaukee residents to know that you are accepted, you are loved, you are supported, and we are proud of you. We are proud that you are here. Milwaukee County is committed to equity, inclusion, and empowering every resident to unlocking their true power and potential. I will always stand up to defend the residents of our community from hate, discrimination, and violence. And I welcome any fight that undermines that commitment. And that came from Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. And now, to close us out, first and foremost, I want to again thank everyone for coming out tonight on this very chilly evening to stand in solidarity for our family in Colorado. Also, a special thank you to all the organizations that came together in a very quick amount of time. Courage Milwaukee, Milwaukee LGBT Community Center, Kareem City Foundation, Zao Milwaukee, and Diverse and Resilient. So there's a lot of emotion here tonight. There's a feeling of sadness, a feeling of anger. For me, it's a range of emotion. When I learned the news, it took me back to when I learned about the Pulse nightclub shooting. And I'm actually wearing a button that was given to me in light of that shooting from a person, a good friend of mine that was on deployment with me in Florida following the disaster. The feeling I felt then is the feeling I feel now. Numb. But through that feeling of sadness, anger, and complete numbness, there's one thing that I have learned about our community. We take the gravel and the dirt and we make a pearl. We make beauty out of something so messy, so painful, We have learned that when we lose hope and faith, we let hate win. And that's why we always pick up and we become stronger and we keep moving on. My family, we cannot let hate win. We cannot stay silent. We cannot fade into the darkness. No more thoughts and prayers. We need acknowledgement and action. I have firmly believed, though, in times of pain and sadness, for us to make change, it starts here. Being here tonight is starting that change and knowing you are supported, you are loved, and you are heard. I describe it as act locally, impact globally. There is so much you can do in light of what happened. First and foremost, talk to your elected officials. You heard that from other speakers tonight. We need something done. No more thoughts and prayers. It's now acknowledge and action. There's a few of them that are here tonight. Get involved in your community. Volunteer. Be involved and be part of the solution. Vote. We just had an election a couple weeks ago. We have another election in the spring. Vote. But lastly, show up and be present. Speak loud, speak proud, because nothing changes in silence. And right now, there's a lot of people that don't want us to speak. Our voices are getting louder. It takes one to come together as a group. We get loud, we make things happen. My family, you are the change. Being here tonight and leaving here, we have to fight for these victims. We are the voice. Change begins tonight, it begins tomorrow, and it begins from now on. It's up to us. It begins with each and every one of you. Don't let the pain, the anger, lose the focus on what's at stake here. We have always rised up in tough situations and we fought back, and guess what? This is no exception. It's our time. Take your pain, take your hurt, and turn it into beauty. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. If you want to socialize, feel free. If you need any additional conversation, there's services available. The candles are yours to take. Take all the time you need to mourn. If you don't want to take the candle with you, you can also sit on the table. On behalf of all the organizations here, thank you so much and have a great evening.
There's one swift thing that got us both at the same time.